Intriguing stuff. I mean, you talked about, having been to the lowest point of failure and chalking some decent success. Oftentimes when we talk about entrepreneurship, we want to celebrate how well people have done, but we fail sometimes to learn from the challenges and the failures. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to just take your time and walk us through 3 critical points that you, if there are that many, of failure, the example, and how you were able to learn from it and bounce back from that situation.
Right. I'll say that when you are especially young and a startup entrepreneur, you are so much passionate about what you're doing such that you sometimes end up taking for granted certain critical issues. Now, one of the factors I encountered that led to my failure was to take for granted documenting agreements. Right? So I took the face value of verbal agreement to mean authentic agreement. And so I happened to have walked into this businessman who we came into an agreement to rent his space to set up one of my detailing branches then. And we agreed to use to pay 300 Ghana cedis a month for 2 years to rent that space. We agreed verbally, and this was an elderly person, well respected in our society, because he was a fatherhead. So I took him for that trust. And so I went ahead because he gave me the leeway to start the project and we can do documentation later. After spending almost 40,000 Ghana cedis around that time, 2008, to set that space up, operated for a little over a year, he called me for us to now document the agreement. Upon getting to his office, he handed over the agreement document to me. Having gone through it, then I got to realize that there is $500 in the place of the 300 Ghana cedis. So I drew his attention that probably there might be a typographical error here. To my amazement, he told me no, that was the real figure. But then I was going to be paying $500 for 2 years instead of the 300 Ghana cedis for 2 years.
Wow.
I thought it was a joke. I tried to draw his attention that, well, this is what we agreed verbally, and I hope he remembers. But then he said, well, this is what you have to pay. You either pay that or you fold up in 3 months. I had already taken bank facilities on 2 succession times. I haven't even started paying. So you can imagine the load it came.
So the absence of you took business decisions on the face value of word of mouth.
Yes.
And I think that in certain societies, I mean, your word could be your bond, but it's also important that you document these things.
Exactly.
So how did you get around that?
Good. So when it happened, in fact, eventually I had to fold up. And the banks have to chase me out for their money anyway.
No, it's other people's money.
Money anyway.
So they need it.
So I virtually almost sold off my business, but then at a point I have to go into partnership so I can raise some money out of the partnership arrangement to settle the banks and offset most of the debts I owed as a result of that situation. So I got around it. Then I realized, okay, my life seems to have come to almost a halt. How was I going to scale out of this? Then I realized, no, okay, I made a mistake by taking verbal decision. 2, I expanded too quick because within the pace of 8 years, I had opened 5 outlets of my business.
Wow.
So I also realized that I took a wrong decision by over-expanding within that short pace of time. So if I had enough financial knowledge, financial management knowledge, I wouldn't have probably taken that decision. So I realized I lack enough education in business management. So I need to upgrade myself. So I enrolled at GIMPA.
Okay.
Yes. Now, what I did was to use proceeds of the partnership arrangement I had with this man to finance my education. So I took up.
You didn't go and buy a brand new car quickly,
Not at all.
You invested in yourself.
I invested in education, self-development.
Okay.
Because I realized that was the only way I could scale out. Should the business or not even come up, at least I can use my certificate to find a job and continue my life. So education became a priority here. So I enrolled at GIMPA, did a program in marketing, came out with my BSc. So after I finished, I picked up the business again. I now went to South Africa for further training in car care.
Okay.
So I did not leave the core business. So
you just added layers of knowledge to what you already knew.
Exactly. So my going to the university was just to pick up knowledge and come and add it to that, but not to necessarily get a certificate and look for a job.
What's the third thing that hurdle that you had to overcome by way of learning?
Good. The third thing I have to handle also was, it came as a result of a corporate organization, that needed a revamp of one of its sectors. Approached me and wanted to partner me for us to rebrand that aspect of their department. And so that also came and hit me down because initially I didn't want to go into that agreement. But then they made me feel that they are a corporate organization, so I could trust them. So they were not going to go against their word. So we agreed for 5 years, so 2 years subject to renewal. The 5 years came, they brought a document, they made it 2 years subject to renewal to 5.
Okay.
But then there was something there. They also put in a clause indicating that each of us can decide to exit the
agreement
at will. It sounded good, but a very dangerous clause. And if you're an entrepreneur out there listening to me, watch those clauses in any agreement that you pick up. Now look at what happened. There was going to be a transfer of technology, a transfer of knowledge here, because they needed something from me. I didn't foresee that early, as of the result of the passion, just wanting to partner.
Was it just the passion or the numbers at the end?
And also partnering a big brand was really going to add value to your brand.
Right.
So that joy made me trust them. After the 2 years lapsed, and they got what they want in terms of the technological knowledge and know-how to scale up.
And they just kicked you.
They sent me a letter saying that they were not going to renew the contract. I asked why. Because we were supposed to end it after 5. And then they activated that clause.
They said, did you see this clause in there?
Exactly. And educated as I am now, I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I managed my investment into that business, so I was able to cushion up, though I'm still paying for some of the losses, but at least I have learned my lesson and so taking up and moving on.
Wonderful stuff. You know what? I really am enjoying this conversation, and I think that for our audience and for business people, practical examples like this are very invaluable. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll learn some more. For my guest, Mr. Emmanuel Awumi, he is the founder of Cecil Ventures. These guys do some car detailing that is presidential. And we're talking about his journey as an entrepreneur, the lessons that he's learned from it, and hopefully you can draw some inspiration and some insights from that as you embark on your own entrepreneurial journey. So stay with us. This is still Business Connect. I'm Ishira Ado, and I'm back with some more after this break.